All right, all right, all right. It looks like we're live. Here I am, Lori Swanson, the CEO of Inspire Tech, the founder of Career Alchemy Academy, a membership community for women in and around tech. And today I wanted to talk to you about a headline I saw that said, are you ready to take that next big, bold career move? So I see this headline. I'm just getting right into it today, as you can tell. I see this headline and immediately my stomach clenches. And I'm like, that's interesting because that sentiment, I guess I'll say, is something that I often coach around. I encourage my women in tech and connected to tech to, pursue their dreams, to take bold action, to assume some risk and go for it, encouraging them to create careers that they love that feel scary and require bold, right? So absolutely that's something that I believe in. And so that I had a stomach clench when I saw that title, or it was an email that came into me, and I thought to myself, why is my stomach clenching? So I spent a little bit of time, getting quiet with myself, asking my stomach why it was clenching. And what came to me was something that really did feel true, that headline felt like pressure, not support. You know, it just, like, for example, if you were asked, are you ready to take your next big, bold career move? Like me, you might think, I'd love to if I wasn't already drowning in back-to-back meetings and holding it all together at home and taking care of my elder parents and preparing my kid for the ACT and the other one, to go up back to school and covering for a coworker who's out and getting dinner on the table and all the time trying to carve out like 5 minutes of me time. I'd love to take that big, bold career move. So the fact is that um, you are making moves. You are doing all the things required of you to stand up a career in life that you have right now. And you've been pressured to follow what I call a traditionally ambitious career path. It's one where you're starting to feel the fallout of having followed that, physically, mentally, emotionally drained. And it can't be avoided when you follow a traditionally ambitious career path. So what is a traditionally ambitious career path? What am I talking about? It often means that it's someone else's idea of what success should look like. It's following culture, it's following parents, guidance counselors, your boss's idea. I remember I had a boss. I was at the beginning of my career, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back for my MBA. And he's like, why would you do that? You don't need it. And his idea of success was that an MBA was unnecessary. And I was young, and I thought to myself, he's right. And I never did it. And so, yes, there is a part of me that does have a little bit of regret that I didn't go back for my MBA for different reasons. But I think the bigger message there was that I allowed someone else to decide for me. I had this idea, and then I had someone kind of squash the idea and logically tell me why the idea didn't make sense for me. And I just, instead of following this sort of inner guidance that I had, or even checking in with myself, I just let a boss direct me in a different direction. And so it can be your fearful brain that's keeping you on a traditionally ambitious career path. It can be your younger self, the one that made this decision years ago to step onto this path, and maybe it even served your younger self for a while, but it's not serving you anymore, except now you feel like this is what you need to be doing. You've got to keep doing this. You've already invested all this time. What would everyone think, right? And so those are the thoughts that come with when you're sort of thinking about stepping off of a culture defined, traditionally ambitious career path is the fearful stuff comes up. Like, what am I thinking? What will other people think? It will be hard. All of that starts to happen. It can look like climbing the ladder of success. And even though you have zero interest in that view, I hear that a lot from my clients. They're like, I thought I wanted to manage a team, maybe not so much, I thought I wanted that title, but everything that goes with it and everyone I see at that same level and the hours that they're spending, that traditional next career path move feels like something you're supposed to do. And that would be you choosing a traditionally ambitious career path move. It might also look like presenting to the world that you got it all together when your inner world is like in complete chaos, or being on vacation, having justified to yourself and the family why work needs to come on vacation with you. That would be traditionally ambitious. Letting boundaries go soft so you can be considered the team player, right? Or even breaking your own self-trust through people-pleasing behaviors. Like, we know when we're fawning, right? There's something that it just feels like ick. We know we're doing it. We know we're saying, yes when we mean no. This boundaries and people pleasing, that self-trust gets broken because we have, committed ourselves to the traditionally ambitious career path. And it's, like I said, it's starting to wear on us. The path feels like a straight up mountain climb filled with rocks, and you have no rock walking sticks or Sherpa to help you. You're just going it on your own. You're looking above and you're like, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Ugh. So it can also look like staying in a career longer than you would because it just makes sense, or because you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for the kids to graduate from college. You're waiting for retirement. You're waiting for having enough money in the bank, or the to-do list to get a little bit shorter, because of course we know that happens, right? Not when you're on a traditional ambitious career path. The to-do list does not get shorter. I'm just saying. So enter a differently ambitious career path that, over time, the traditionally ambitious career path, that form of ambition, doesn't just leave you tired, but it also leaves you feeling like you've lost touch with yourself, like you've lost touch with your inner guidance system, your intuition. You've lost touch with your career dream, with your joy. And that's why I'm inviting in you to consider a differently ambitious career path. So let's enter that in. Let's usher that in, because differently ambitious women aren't less driven. I think that that's sort of a thing we think, is that if we step off the corporate train, that means we're not ambitious, and it doesn't mean that. It does, being differently ambitious is not an ambition killer. We're just differently ambitious. We just want something deeper. We want something more grounded. We want something more fun. We want something that's energizing us. So that kind of ambition looks more like choosing what's truly satisfying over what simply just feels impressive, right? Or prioritizing real connection over constant performance, setting boundaries and keeping them. A differently ambitious career is about standing up for what you want rather than laying down to keep the peace. It also means like pleasing yourself first, because you know that when you please yourself, you're also going to be pleasing your family. You please your boss, you please your company, you please your career dream, your mission. That when you center on yourself first, all that other stuff, when you're satisfied, when you're energized, when you're connected, when you're experiencing joy and enthusiasm about the work you're doing, that just, boom, that ripples out, and everyone wants you to do more of that because they love how you're making them feel and you're inspiring them as well. So it's not about opting out of ambition. It's about opting in to your own definition of success. It's about actually, like when I think about my younger self who said no to the MBA, if I'd had a coach, if I'd had more skills, more sense of, you know, now my first go-to is always my inner wisdom. I always check in with my spirit guide. I really do. I call it my spiritual board of advisors because it's like a board of advisors for the career of me, right? The company of me. And I check in with them first, but I didn't know any of that then. I was just at the beginning of that spiritual journey for me. And so I didn't know to check in with myself, but now I define myself as a differently ambitious woman, and I opting into my own success. And that means listening to my inner voice and tuning out. I might gather info. I'm not saying you don't gather info, but then you let it, you steep in it, your intuition, you call on your spiritual board of advisors, and you are creating a career, differently ambitious career that's rooted in alignment with your authentic self. It's rooted in like alignment in your authentic self. It's also rooted in like feeling alive in your everyday, like pretty consistently experiencing aliveness versus deadness, right? We know the opposite of that. And also connecting to yourself, to others, and to your higher form of service, which I, as you know, believe that your work is your form of service, and that when you're doing it from a place of joy, place of connection, from a differently ambitious place, you are serving the greater good, which is all we're here called to do, is to do that, is to spread love in all its forms. And we do that through our careers and connecting with, this higher form of service. So the real big, bold career move is not saying yes to every opportunity, or, climbing the ladder, using every ounce of energy you have, and spending very little time with friends and family because work, right? And it's giving yourself permission to pursue what actually feels grounded and spacious. Like, don't you love that? Like, if you had this career that felt grounded and spacious, yeah, yum. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but that feels amazing. I'm creating more and more of that when I moved out of um, my last company, which for a very, very long time really served me. And then it became sort of a thing that I thought I had to do because I had built it, because I was good at it. So it was definitely on the traditionally ambitious path because I felt like um, I just had to stay there. Especially because my kids were launched. It was like, why would you, redefine yourself now? Just keep doing what you're doing. But that was soul crushing to me. I mean, really, I was exhausted, where before for years it had energized me. It was the opposite of that, which is a huge sign. You can love something in the beginning and feel completely energized by it for years. But when it starts to drain you, it's a sign that you are ready for different, and that you're being nudged to, like close down that traditionally ambitious career path that you've been on, and find, or that the traditionally ambitious, and find the differently ambitious path that you're meant to be on. So, the go big headline for the differently ambitious, if you see the headline like go big, are you ready to take action on the big bold career move? and it has you feeling like you're already behind, just push the pause button, right? And ask yourself these 4 questions. Number 1, what kind of ambitious move feels most aligned with where you are right now? Like a differently ambitious move. Like, so when you think about that, Like if you were to ask yourself, what's a differently ambitious move I could make right now? I mean, I can see your smiles because it's sort of like, ooh, what is that? What would that move be? You can ask yourself, does a satisfying and spacious day look like for me today? How do I create that? Again, we go back to boundary setting and people pleasing. And I talked I think last week about setting mini vacations throughout your calendars just for you, so doing more of that, like what does it mean to start creating this spacious, satisfying day right now? What's one boundary you can set? And honor this week? And what would it look like to pursue success from a place of enoughness? It's just like more, or eventually. But letting go of over hustle, letting go of, being very clear about what energizes and what drains you, and letting go of more of those draining people and actions that you're taking, and choosing what would it feel like. Differently ambitious women say to themselves, hey, this is a priority. Number 1, what would a differently ambitious move feel like? What would feel more satisfying and spacious today? How can I do that for today? It's the beginning, you're getting out of bed, you're getting ready for work, and you're thinking to yourself, what can I do right now or as soon as I get to my desk to create more space in my day? What can I say no to? What's that boundary I can set and I can hold? And then, I sometimes talk about inside Career Alchemy Academy that B- is enough. We don't have to be A+ in everything, and I'm not saying that you're lowering your standards. I'm just saying that these standards have not been set by you, and your A+ standard, their A+ standard could very well be B- for you. Like, like, this is so good. They're going to love it. And I know I could keep tweaking it and keep, change some colors here. And I know I could do all of that. But that's traditionally ambitious decision, not a differently ambitious decision. So you don't have to keep doing what you're doing to prove anything to anyone. You have permission to do your career differently, because, that's a bold move, right? Making the decision to do your career differently. And differently ambitious women choose grounded and spacious careers. I'm just loving that. I'm just going to work with that all this week. Like, what would feel more grounded today? Where am I feeling, disconnect? Like, what's the opposite of not feeling grounded, right? And how is that happening? And what's the opposite of feeling crowded instead of spacious? And so just choosing those feelings that have me feeling more spacious and grounded, and also choosing those activities. I love that. And I think that is absolutely a differently ambitious move. Differently ambitious career women, um, are done chasing, I guess I would say done chasing traditionally ambitious career, and that was chosen in many ways for us. Even if we didn't know it, there's just no way that culture and expectation hasn't, found its way into our psyche from childhood on up. But differently ambitious career women are no longer interested in a career path that they have never been asked about what they thought about it, or what they wanted. We're going to think about it. We're going to decide what we want, and then we're going to create a new kind of, this is something we do inside Career Alchemy Academy. I call it your ideal role description. We're going to create this ideal role, this ideal career path that has you being more grounded and more spacious, more energized, having more fun, feeling more connected to the work you're meant to be doing in the world, how you're meant to be doing it, with the people you're meant to be doing it, with people you're meant to be doing it with, um, in the places you're meant to be doing it, getting paid what you're meant to be getting paid. All of those are differently ambitious choices and part of a differently ambitious career, all underpinned by feeling grounded and energized and joyful and spacious. So that's it for today. Love for you to join, if you know you're differently ambitious and you've already started to do it and you want more support, or you are tired of sort of turning your back on the career nudge of, hey, this path, you're done. Move to a differently ambitious path, one that's more grounded, one that's more spacious, one that's more fun, one that gives you more energy, one that feels like you're doing the work you're meant to be doing in the world. Join Career Alchemy Academy. Behind me is the QR code, or go to my website, inspiretech.com. Look me up on LinkedIn. We are building, it's fire. We had our live coaching call yesterday. It was amazing. It was amazing. These women helping women, me coaching. We have a touchstone for August that we're all, I might talk about that later this month. You don't know. Today, enough. We're talking about having a differently ambitious career. But Career Alchemy Academy is the support for that. You are not alone it is scary to make a shift. So just start with choosing a community of differently ambitious women to support you through at the pace that you need to go. Everything. I'm just so stoked about Career Alchemy Academy. You know that. And so that's it. Enough today. Peace. Love you. Spread love in all its forms. That's what we do when we're pursuing differently ambitious careers. That's what people feel. Thank you so much for joining me.